welcome to the May 14th ESS Coordinating Committee meeting. Just to do a quick roll call, Travis,
Here.
Denise,
Here.
Jolynn,
Here.
Keisha,
Here.
Natalie, here, Mel,
Here.
Julie,
Here.
Jamie, I'm here, Jesse.
He is on vacation, Arizona.
Oh, nice, okay. David Erickson. And Dylan Malone. I didn't see either one of them on there.
Dylan told me he would be remote. I did not hear from Dave.
Okay, perfect. All right. I also wanted to take a quick second this morning. I don't know if everybody's had the chance to meet Director Jamie since she has started. Did you meet everybody when they came in?
Yeah.
Okay. I know we need to go around and do introductions for you.
Yeah.
Further. So, okay. All right, let's dive in, guys.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank committee for beautiful flowers and for the support that you've given me this last couple of years. I appreciate it. You've given me a lot of grace. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. Okay, so we have on the agenda the April 9th, 2026 meeting summary for approval. It can be found on pages 2 through 3 in your meeting packet. I do like the page numbers, by the way. That's nice to have.
Yeah, that was a recommendation by Stacy for the finance meeting, and we're going to do that moving forward.
Great.
Adds a little time to the packet development, but I think it's worth it so
Yeah.
everybody can find it.
Very appreciated. Are there any corrections?
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Travis and seconded by Jolynn to approve the April 9th, 2026 meeting summary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Good job. Okay.
And seconded, please.
Travis moved and Jolynn seconded.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, finance reports and update. The quarterly financial reports can be found on pages 4 through 9.
Okay, the first quarter financial reports for 2026. I'm just gonna update on a few things here. But if you would like further explanation or if you would like to see 2026 numbers compared to 2025 numbers, I highly recommend that you join the finance meetings, usually happening on the first or second Thursday of each month. Money market interest income is up compared to 2025. And with that, the bad payment fees are also up with a lot of chargebacks happening in February. We do expect this number to remain up as we had quite a bit of chargebacks and bad payment fees happening in April. POS service income is down compared to last year. We believe this is mostly due to boat renewals, which are an every other year renewal. And then service fees are up. E-submissions have been in great shape, almost reaching 2021 numbers. The main difference in income would be the local service provider maintenance invoices. Since this started, the local service providers have been paid on a fiscal year basis. However, in 2025, we switched the cycle to a calendar year. So you'll now see the invoices to counties happening in January of each calendar year. And the local service providers will also be paid usually in that first quarter. The local service provider maintenance account with $153,320.95 with budgeted income at $607,808.39. For expenses for the first quarter, the accounting software services, this is just for the ESS accounting software. This did have a little bit of a price increase compared to last year. The office space lease is a little bit higher than originally projected. In March, we were still at the Johnston office and we moved to the West Des Moines office in April. However, the payment for the lease for the new office will be paid in the month prior. So this $14,372 includes 3 months of rent for the Johnson office and 1 month of rent plus the down deposit for the new office in West Des Moines. The bank account analysis fees are up a little bit compared to last year. This just has to do with more money coming in and out of the account and then a higher bank balance. The professional solutions online transfer fees are for credit card transactions, and this also includes every time we get a return or a chargeback for $20,201.03. The Vericheck online transaction fees are the ACH fees and the POS transaction fees, which are down from last year of $22,709.88. This is for the POS machines at the county offices. With a total gateway transaction fees at just over $51,000. The $200 membership expense was for the Iowa Mortgage Association membership. This is an annual expense, usually happening in the first quarter of every year. Conferences and meetings. This was for our project manager to attend in person the PREA conference. Last year, he was not able to attend due to everything that was going on at the Capitol. And then the ESS executive director, the computer equipment was to get our new executive director computer monitors, everything she needs for her office. Then if you want to go down a little bit, thanks. The forward file redaction services are up compared to last year. This would be for every recorded, electronically recorded document to go through our redaction process. And then the local maintenance expense, which will now be happening in the first quarter of every year instead of the third and fourth quarter of $290,376.20. With total budgeted expenses at $661,495.96 with a net income of negative $53,687.57. For the full profit and loss, again, budgeted income at $607,808.39, with revolving income at $9,342,774.69, with gross profit of $9,950,583.08. Can you go down some more?
Yep.
Sorry. And so the main difference between the budgeted profit and loss that we covered and this profit and loss, if you want to go down a little bit more, Jamie. Are the planned reserve expenses and then also the revolving expenses. So just to cover the planned reserve expenses, the back file redaction, that $2,022.50. We don't budget for this. However, we do put money aside in the reserve funds every year. This would be for all historical documents that the county offices are able to upload to the system. The HR recruitment expense, this was for the hiring of our new executive director. We originally budgeted or assumed that this expense would be way higher than this $2,566 that you're seeing on in the expenses. We got really lucky that we were able to find the perfect fit so quickly. Office fixtures and equipment. This is related to the move to the new West Des Moines office. When we were renting at the Johnston office, ESS did not own anything at the office. So we had to buy new desks, office supplies, etc. for this new West Des Moines office. And then the software development and consulting of $10,737 is for the redesign of our website. Depreciation expense for the quarter at $55,011. This is down compared to 2025. At the end of 2025, we did have some fully depreciated software. And then revolving expenses at $9,347,815.73, with total expenses at $10,089,646.95, with a net income of negative $139,063.87. Balance sheet for the third quarter, the BT settlement account with $997,759.90. Just a reminder that this account is actually always starts the day at $0 and ends the day at $0. The amount shown here is the unreconciled transactions in the ESS accounting software. And then the money market sweep account broken out by the reserve accounts with a total of $1,015,027.43, with total assets and liabilities equaling $2,796,207.27. I'd be happy to answer any questions on the financial reports for the first quarter.
Are there any questions for Samantha? Are there any in the chat? Nothing, Lisa? Okay. There are no questions or discussion. I would take a motion for approval of the financial reports.
I can approve it.
Keisha? Okay, Keisha has moved. Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
Julie has seconded. It's been moved and seconded to approve the quarterly financial reports. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. And we are ready for an audit status update. That's anything.
Yeah, that's Samantha.
When you speak, might want to raise your voices a little bit more. It's registering kind of low.
Samantha?
Yep, the audit update.
Yep, we're ready for that.
Okay. So the last week of April, ESS had Denman CPA LLP audit the 2005 records. ESS accounts and records are audited annually. The auditors use tests to examine the financial reports, ensuring accuracy and compliance with laws and regulations. The audit also examines ESS business practices by identifying any concerns in the controls and ensuring accounting standards are met. The audit meets the same standards that would be applied for any political subdivision and is filed with the auditor of state. Denman conducted the annual audit of ESS for 2025 calendar year. It was reported that the audit process was completed. Management comments will be submitted to the auditor as soon as the preliminary audit report is received in the next few weeks. A full audit report will be presented in the ESS Finance Subcommittee and ESS Coordinating meetings in their August meetings.
Samantha, did they have any comments that stood out to you that we need to change how we do things, or overall first perception is good?
I don't think so. They actually finished the audit in the office in 2 days. They had 3 auditors working in the office, and I have not heard anything additional. I don't know if Jamie or Phil or Lisa have heard anything else.
Yeah, I think the only question that they had was the change in the payment for the service providers, and that's because the year had changed.
Sure. Okay.
And so that was the only question, was why was that a little different this last year?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
I think it's important to point out all the pre-work that Samantha did. The auditor provides a portal and tells us which transactions they want to look at. So they take a sample of charges and distributions and point of sale, and we trace those from where the money came in to where the money went out in both cases. And it's time consuming. It's not hard, but it's time consuming. And Samantha did all of that and had everything prepped for them. So that allowed them to be done quickly.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Samantha, for your work on that.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Samantha or Jamie on the audit? Okay. Moving right along, calendar year 2026 budget amendment found on pages 11 through 15.
I think we missed the
Oh,
metrics.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
In April of 2026, we were about 300 documents behind 2021, which is the highest April on record. So we were at 35,713 in April of this year, as opposed to 36,025 documents in April of 2021. You may remember that when the pandemic hit, e-submission went crazy in a really good way. Month to date, we have recorded about 15,000 documents this year, and so far this month against about 32,500 in May of last year. So I think we're on a good track. And through April, we're up about 10% in e-submission.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. My apologies. Any questions on the April metrics? Okay, now we're ready for the calendar year 2026 budget amendment found on pages 11 through 15. Jamie, I believe this is.
So the budget is on the big sheets.
Budget is on the big sheets.
Yes, and I'm also pulling it up on my screen because I think this is a little bit easier for me to look at as well. So we have prepared this budget amendment for your review, and we have changes in both revenue and expense. With respect to revenue, recording activity has been above projections, and the POS has declined compared to previous projections. Overall, our projected revenue is expected to increase by over 21,000, and our expenditures are projected to decline by more than 11,000. And as a result, the projected net income would increase by over 32,000. And so I will go through this update in the actual Excel file. Can everybody see this okay?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so everything that has shifted a little bit, I have a comment on, along with, a highlight in here. Okay, so in March, we did not, so you can see in March, we did not receive this. So, it wasn't sent by the Treasurer of State. So we found 53,000 in mid-April, and that should be reflected in June. And we actually moved this payment of 7,500 for the audit to April when we made the payment, and that was later in the month. And so the 3,500 will be moved to a June expense. I've included this compensation adjustment, which I will jump back to after I go through all the changes here. I have a separate memo associated to that. So this was, and I'm moving on to the office operations and the office space itself. That April month was the last month of payments for the Johnson office space, and both office spaces were charged for during that month of April. So you'll notice our new cost is $34.72 a month, which is less than what was projected, which is great. Along with, our overall, we removed the cleaning fees and a ton of other things that were previously projected. And so we're able to save quite a bit of budget on that, including internet, which we're paying $100 a month. And I think we had previously thought that would be $250. So that's great. And then we also had to get a firewall installed. That was something that was provided by Bill's office. So now we're having to pay for that separately. And then we did have to get that firewall installed. So you'll notice that this has gone up a little bit for that tech support for the installation of the firewall. And then moving forward, it'll be back down to that $400 a month. Let's see here. We are planning an open house in August. So we've added that expense here.
Where'd you have that in? Sorry.
In August.
Oh, the miscellaneous. Okay.
Yeah, under the miscellaneous, right. Let's see here. And then we have the focus group in-person testing for the redesign, and anyone that is joining that focus group knows that this has recently been discussed, and this is for that redesign and the hub updates. And then we have the summer school travel. We're planning on going, and so we have some budget set aside for that, which is a little different. We went to Story County in April, see how the recorders do their work there. That was great. And then we also went to the ISAC conference, so we had parking costs associated to that. Let's see here. We had a WordPress plugin for the redesign as well. So that's pretty much most of those shifts that you'll see in the budget there. And then we have the typical, costs here associated to the staff. And those are unchanged. We did purchase our certificate in April and not May. So there is a change for May's cost there. And then we had a maintenance expense of the Numo Avenue, $33.19 in May. And we had made some changes to the transaction fees, the PS. So you'll notice here the credit card fees for resubmission. So because it's higher submission numbers, that increased our amount for chargebacks. And then we also have the charge for the POS transaction fees, which is $12,000, projected to be $12,000 for July for the PCI annual fees per county, and that's $40 per county. And so with these changes, we also have, go over to the right, and you'll see that on S, we have the amended amount for all of these line items, which gives us a positive of $32,544.08. And so to move on with my second amendment, let's see here. So that was the budget amendment that we just went through, and now I am on the employee compensation change approval. So in my first month in April, I had 2 reviews that I completed, and during those performance reviews for our staff, I realized that there was not a budget set aside for increasing salary for the staff members, and I have always typically done that at the same time of the review. So I am requesting to have a change in the budget process to add a line item for this increase. And I just want to be proactive with that. So we're planning on it at the beginning of the year and through the budget. And so see here. And previously, it seems like this has typically always happened for everybody at the same time, and there's been a memo for each person. And so I just wanted to change that process so that it was already aligned, so I can complete that performance review all at once. And so I've listed out in the memo the adjustment details per person or per role. And so this is typically something provided to the committee. And so I thought I would just add that in here. But where I put that in the budget is that highlighted item right here, this compensation adjustment. And so I'm looking at, for example, I've completed 2 reviews already. And that compensation adjustment here, I have 620 for the month of June. And that would mean if those 2 people receive their compensation adjustments for June, that would be taken out and put into their salary down below, or the cost. So in July, the same thing. So as soon as that 620 would be out of this top adjustment line item, it would go directly down into the team members' salary that you see here on a monthly basis. And then let me go ahead and I can go through the recommendations that I have here. The senior developer, I have a 3% compensation increase. The accountant, I have a 5% compensation increase. This is a little bit higher because I believe that they have taken on additional tasks aligned to their role, and they performed above average with the director search, the office move, HR system conversion, and overall HR functions that have been taken on by that person. And then I have the account coordinator listed as well for a 3% increase. The account manager for a 6% increase. Again, this is for additional tasks aligned to the role, above average performance, taking on additional responsibilities during that office move, the director search, travel and conferences, and training of the new director. I have our technical lead at a 3% increase. And then there are 3 other staff members that would not have their performance review. And so that additional budget would be considered for the 2027 year. So the action requested here with the budget amendment is to approve that budget amendment. And also that we'll watch, we'll make sure that our budget is on track for the compensation adjustments. But it's also to change this budget amendment process to include that compensation line item.
And as requested at the beginning of the meeting, we had some questions in the chat, which Samantha and Besa addressed in the chat as well. There was a question asking to go back to the PCI compliance amount for July. And Lisa, do you want to speak more on that?
So, Professional Solutions and Security Metrics charge us a $40 fee annually per county participating in the point of sale system. And it's an $80 PCI compliance fee per county. We split it with Professional Solutions, so we're only being charged $40 per county instead of 80. So, and it's billed annually by county, so it's not going to be spread out over the year. So it is kind of a bigger expense right there in July. Samantha, do you have anything to offer or add?
Sure. So this is a newer expense. So when we were with Bank Card USA, Security Metrics, I believe still charge that, but Bank Card USA took over that whole expense upon switching to Professional Solutions. And I abbreviated that in the comments, so I'm sorry if that wasn't understood. We abbreviate that to PSFS. Professional Solutions is charged that $80 per county participating. However, we worked it out with Professional Solutions so that they would pay half of that expense per county. And just so you know, we are PCI compliant. We do have certificates for every county if each county would like or need that.
We are being charged for each county that is participating. So we're not being charged for all 99. We're being charged for the, Samantha, is it 90 counties about that are participating?
I believe so, approximately.
Okay. So it's not 99 times 40, it's the number of counties participating times 40.
So do our fees associated with the credit card offset that cost? So it's not,
It might offset some of it, but not all of it.
okay,
I mean, we could dig into that deeper, but I don't think it's going to offset
so
all of it.
it's costing Iowa Land Records money for us to have our credit card.
Is it easier for each county to get their own, or you guys want to maintain that credit card?
That's your decision. Some counties have chosen to use another system, maybe through the treasurers. And I'm sure there is a PCI compliance fee somehow associated with that. It's really important that, you know, that's taken care of, that you're not storing any credit card information or other information.
Thank you for that explanation. Okay, is there any discussion, sorry, I'm like, on the budget amendment, the calendar year 2026 budget amendment? We have two action items on the agenda. One is the budget amendment, one is the employee compensation review and increase.
Sorry, I do have a question.
Yes.
I was talking. Danny, the membership, no, sorry, the seminars and workshops, what was that? So for June, it's in there for the 3,000, but what should that entail?
The 300.
For seminars and workshops?
Is that for, Jamie, is that for you going to Priya?
I don't think we put that in there yet.
Is that the focus
Oh,
group
that's the
meeting?
focus group meeting.
Yes, that's where we're putting the focus group. Yep.
And is that for their mileage on
It's for mileage
the
and
website?
a
Focus
hotel. Yes.
Okay.
So,
Mileage hotel, I think. Anything else we included in that?
I think some food, beverages.
Okay.
kind of thing.
Yeah. So that's an estimate, and I'm sure the total will be different once it's completed. And we're not even sure how many people can come in person right now, but we're just trying to estimate what that would cost.
Any other questions?
I have a question, but I don't know if I can bring it up. So
Is it in regards to the budget?
it's in regards to budget and employee compensation.
Sure.
Right, now's the time to discuss it.
Okay. I was wondering if there's anything we might do to compensate our previous director for his service, his 20+ years of service. I didn't know if there was any.
So I did, Julie spoke about this at one time, and I did some further digging into that. And as a government subdivision, if you will, we cannot do that. And that was Steve Brick. I talked to Steve Brick, our attorney, and recommended we can, which is unfortunate, but that's
Just that.
yeah.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
you
don't know
did
if
check.
I don't know if
Yes.
necessarily a bonus, but like years of service. But it's, I mean, when you look at this budget, you see all the money that he's paying by his thing in his building and the compensation that we gave him. When we're giving all of these, I agree with you on the compensation, but the amount of money that he made.
Yeah.
I mean, he created Iowa Land Records and he kept it alive and we profited greatly from it. So I just thought if there's something that we could do to
Yeah, I did
appreciate it.
check into
And for
that.
anybody that serves that long and the things that we did.
Yeah.
I personally can't handle that, but I thank you, Julia, for checking.
Yep. Okay. Are there any comments online on the budget amendment or compensation reviews?
It sounds like not everybody was able to hear.
Speak out.
Here, Julie.
Yeah, it sounds like everybody wasn't able to hear Julie.
So Julie asked about potentially doing a bonus for our previous project manager, Phil Dunshee. And I relayed, this was a conversation that had come up as Phil sent in his resignation. And I did reach out to Steve Brick, who is our attorney with ESS. And since we are a government entity, that is not allowable. So, okay. So I've asked a couple times now for any further discussion. Is there a motion to approve the county or the calendar? Yeah.
The finance subcommittee, I assume, has vetted the change and how the compensation is going, put it in a budget line item, I assume, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
they met, they approved it, they
Okay.
approved the
So
compensation
this is basically just
formality.
what? So this is basically just shifting, putting it in the budget instead of all of a sudden it all comes at once.
Right.
Okay.
It is a matter of being proactive and just having it there.
Understand.
I
Yeah.
like it.
Thank
It's
you.
not saying it
Yeah,
will all be
I do
used
too.
by any means, but it'll just be planned for in our calendar year budget.
Are you wanting these individual or?
Yeah.
I think we probably should.
I make a motion to approve the calendar year 2026 budget amendment.
Okay, thank you, Travis. Is there a second?
Says Mel, I can second.
Okay, Mel has seconded. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to approve the calendar year 2026 budget amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Put these red stickers on there. Okay, so unless they're
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, if you are online, can you please make sure you're muted? We're picking up some noise from your office. Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve employee compensation? Okay, thank you, Keisha.
I'll second.
Denise seconded. It's been moved and seconded to approve the employee compensation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Great. Thank you all. Thank you, Jamie, for your work on that. Really appreciate it. Okay, next item on the agenda is contracts and agreements. First up, we have Lean Techniques and We Write Code for a 1-year extension found on pages 18 through 20.
Okay, so something that I was made aware of shortly after I started was that we have 2 vendors. We have Lean Technology or Techniques, and we have We Write Code, and we have a master agreement with them. The master agreement I did not include in the packet, but I do have it here in case anybody is interested in looking at it. But it's a lot of boilerplate type of terms. And it is, 69 pages long. So I just wanted to save some paper. But ultimately, it is a very boilerplate. It is, if we reach out to you for work, please provide an estimate to us, type of thing. And we've had that in place for 5 years. And it's just coming to an expiration. And so by July 1st, we'd like to have an extension sent to them and signed off on, so we can continue that work for one more year. So the extension is for 1 year. And the extension is actually in the packet. And they're exactly the same, just with different company names. So it's just saying, hey, all of these terms and conditions will be extended for 1 year. And so that is and 2 agreements that I'd like to receive approval on extending.
Bill has sent me a note that, reminder that the rewrite code and lean technique master agreements allow for 5 one-year extensions. So this would be the first of 5.
First of
Yes,
5 years.
thank you.
Our first of 1 year.
Can someone remind us, I guess, what we would use them for, or what we have used?
Oh, yeah,
them
absolutely.
before, just for reference.
Yeah, so we have used them for, Search 2.0, and then CAS.
External development.
Yes,
is the bottom line.
custom software development. And so I think they both participated as well in the request for quote process for the
Yes.
notification system.
Correct.
So they are definitely custom development. We can reach out to them for major, projects like the notification system, and to provide an estimate and work with them on different things like that.
They're both local, which is nice.
Yes.
We can have a face-to-face meeting if necessary.
So obviously there are some things that the team can't get done or do, or it's beyond.
Right. A lot of times, our development staff is stretched thin. And so when we have a major project like notification system, a lot of times, as it appears, we've gone to these vendors and asked them for their quotes, and have, provided the requirements to them, and they come back and they provide an estimate, and then the selection process happens. And that is how we, get additional software development done for major projects when we don't have the staff to do that. Yeah.
The note from Phil is, they helped with the update to the reporter e-submitter interface, this updated search application, and the creation of the updated ESS application in 2023. And they did also respond for the notification RFQ, but they were not selected.
Any other discussion on the 1 year extensions for lean techniques and we write code? Is there anything in the chat? Online?
No.
Okay. If there is no discussion, I will take a motion to approve the 1 year extension.
Says Mel, I can move.
I'll second.
And Natalie is seconded. Thank you, girls. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed, same sign. Who's doing so good? All right. It's been approved to extend the 1 year extension for lean techniques and we write code. Thank you. All right, moving on pages 21 through 56, you will see the contract for ReGov, which is a new local service provider that several counties are switching to.
Yeah, so ReGov contacted us to, just introductions and getting to know them. And they said that they were ahead of their development schedule by 1 to 2 years, which is always a great thing, right? So they reached out and wanted to start the integration process with ILR's API. And so we, Myrna and I, or the technical lead, and I got on a call with them and just learned a little bit more about where they were at with their development, and I sent them over the Swagger pages so they could continue their development. But ultimately, we need to approve their contract before we can send them credentials to actually integrate with us. So we had a conversation with them on April 6th, and they're aware that, the contract is being reviewed today, and, that's really what we need to have approved in order for them to continue on with their integration. Their plan is to integrate in 46 months, and at that time, it's now August through October is when they plan on actually completing the work. And their first two counties to integrate will be Pocahontas and Adams. And so this is what that maintenance and support agreement looks like. It is boilerplate, and it's just like any other service provider agreement out there. Any questions for me?
I did write down a question when I was reviewing the agenda. I'm assuming there is language in there to switch over to, or make sure they are developing for the county upload and the county e-submission API, the new.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. So any new service provider coming on right now will be going onto our new APIs. Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Just a comment. I was on the original ISAC data and software task force that initially kind of reviewed or interviewed some of these vendors for their project there. The REGO guys that I had contact with were, it seemed like really nice, very responsive people. I got nothing but a positive view of them coming away from that. So they seem very willing to, do whatever it takes to get things going, because they really want to get, I guess, a foothold here in Iowa, but obviously. So I just wanted to point that out, that my experience with them so far, which was limited, only ran into them a few times and sat through an interview process with them, but they seem like a good bunch of individuals. So that was all.
I'll echo that, Travis, as one of the counties that's moving to them. They've been really great to work with and willing to jump on phone calls for development and suggestions and ideas for building out all the county programs. So,
I mean, I guess what struck me the most with them was that anything that got brought up, there was nothing that was a curveball. They just, yeah, we can do that, So anyway, I just wanted to make that comment. So I think they'll probably be a good partner going forward for those that have made the decision to go that route.
Do they just do recorders?
no,
Or
it's
what's
a full county service provider.
So like your whole county will
Yep.
know.
I mean, you can obviously participate how you want to, like treasurer office doesn't have to, if they don't want to.
I mean, our county, we all use Tyler. I don't see our IT wanting us to switch unless it goes
Right.
to somebody that.
But you can choose to participate as an office or not.
Jimmy, are some counties that are switching, some offices are switching ahead of others instead of all at the same time?
What do you mean by offices? So like,
So maybe auditors would go before the recorder.
yeah, I think they might be releasing, I could be wrong about this, so I really apologize if I'm speaking out of term, but they purchased a treasurer software from one of the southern states, and that's what they are initially building off of, but I think the recorders module might be one of the first ones,
Okay.
because there's, each state has their different laws, so just trying to make everything work.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion regarding ReGov and their contract? Is there a motion to approve the contract for ReGov? Travis?
I'll second.
Denise
So
is
did you
seconded.
want to, I mean, we have your address on the folder.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the ReGov contract. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Again, if you are online, please make sure you're muted. We can pick up some of your office chatter. Thank you. All right, Enterprise Iowa contract extension found on pages 57 through 58. I'm going to kick off this conversation. The existing contract with Enterprise Iowa does expire June 30th. It was written when Phil stepped down that the chair of the ESS Coordinating Committee could extend those via 1-month extensions. So that does end June 30th. He does have an extension through the end of May. We can do it again through the end of June. But beyond that, July 1, we have to make a decision as a committee to extend it farther. Jamie and I have been having some discussions around this, specifically with the notification system build out, as Phil Dunshee has been continuously working on the project for us. So I'll let Jamie kind of explain what she's thinking after the June 30th date.
Okay, so after June 30th, we will be still in the middle of the notification system development with COT. Phil has taken on the role of project manager on that. And throughout June, we will be continuing to do, training for me and my weekly questions of different business that comes up. And there's a lot of different business that comes up that I'm always surprised about. And so it's great to be able to bounce some things off of Phil just to get his ideas on, how has this happened in the past and things like that. However, I do think a lot of that transition will happen by the end of June, but I would like to extend Phil's contract through the end of December to finalize the notification system project. And so this would allow him time to focus on the weekly calls with COT and to complete testing. The planning and development process is going to be happening through probably August. And so his time will likely go down in August and go back up in September and October for testing and working through any last minute development changes with the COT team. And November and December will be the post-launch support and issues as COT has outlined in their contract for us. I estimate this will be about 95 hours through the end of December. So that's about $9,500 out of the budget that is not in the budget amendment right now because I need this approved first. And so I think that this would allow Phil to finish off this project. And I know he's had a vision for this project for over 2 years. And I think that it would be best for the system.
So just to piggyback on that, when we originally talked about extending Phil's contract in general, whether we've been doing it month by month or with this extension, I believe we could have tapped into the software reserves. Is that correct?
We could have,
but we
yes.
have not. We've still been using our operating expenses. So nothing reserve-wise has been tapped into, just so you're all aware of that. So, and additionally, I know it's just May now, but I did reach out to Phil yesterday. We had that ICRA-led subcommittee for the policies and procedures. And I feel like I'm still utilizing some of Phil's time as well as the ESS chair and asking questions. And there's some questions still left from that subcommittee that I've kind of kept track of that I'm going to utilize some of Phil's time to get answered for ESS and for the association. So some historical information, why things were done the way they were done for so many years. And yeah, so.
Yeah, I echo that because I have a lot of questions about that as well.
Well, I can appreciate there's a lot of questions, and I can appreciate the fact that Phil has not just been one part of the Iowa, but he's had his fingers in a lot of things. And it's done a lot, as you have probably learned, Jamie.
Yes.
So has Phil agreed to this, do you know? He would
So
accept-
Phil's agreeable to extending his contract from July through December, if that's what this committee wishes to do. So, is there discussion, comments, questions, concerns?
So the 95 hours, is that just for the notification system project, or would that be?
So primarily for the notification system, it would allow some more time for him to do meetings and introductions for Director Jamie, with some of our stakeholders. I had another thought and I just totally lost it. But those are the primary things that this time will be used for.
Yeah, and I have these 3 bullets.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Sorry.
So project management services
I don't know
related
what I
to
just did.
creation of the
Click happy.
notification system, tech assistance for the operations of ESS and Iowa Land Records, and then of course other duties identified by the chair and the executive director.
And I personally think it's a great idea and it's an asset, even asset, absolutely, and I think it would be helpful.
Yeah.
And say if he would be willing to do so.
Yeah, it's essential to our success, I think.
Mhm.
And just so you guys know, like Director Jamie is also on the calls with Cott and Phil regarding the notification system. She's keeping tabs on that very well. Her and I meet weekly. We try to meet weekly on Fridays just for an update on what's going on in the office. So I get to learn some of those things that she's doing with Phil. So,
And I have complete confidence in Director Jamie.
Yes, yes.
Totally confident. So I just think to have that extra hand, especially when we're in the middle of the notification system and we're in the middle of a transition. If he's willing to stay, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, Jamie, I'm glad you bring that up as far as, sorry, you, Jamie. Just that it's not just one person, it's not just Phil that is in on the notification system and knowing what the future is going to do, that Jamie's on those calls. That too is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Phil's contract ends June 30th, I think that it's important that I'm on that in case I need to take that over. I wasn't sure if, he would be agreeable. So yeah, I've been keeping tabs on that too.
are there any other comments from the committee or online? Lisa, is there anything online?
From Melissa, I appreciate Phil's willingness to stay on to help with the transition. This is a great benefit to ESS and ICRA and very much appreciated.
If there's no further discussion, I would take a motion for the extension, contract extension for Enterprise Iowa.
This is Mel. I make that motion.
Can you do a second, Mel? Julie, motion first.
Oh, I can do a second to Julie. That would be fine.
You're so involved.
All right, so it's been moved by Julie, seconded by Mel, to approve the contract extension for Enterprise Iowa from July 1st, 2026 through the end of December 2026. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. All right, next up for discussion is the online renewal system discussion. I sent out an email, I don't even know when it was at this point. It's been a while ago, so we had plenty of time to reach out to our districts about the online renewal system. So if you recall, this was regarding, Lynn County initiated this project, and it was to renew ORVs, OHVs, snowmobiles, and boats through an online system, and Iowa Land Records was a partner in that. So Mel Bonson kind of has been interested in leading the charge on maybe allowing all recorders to access the system that was created. And so district reps on ESS were asked to email your districts for kind of opinions and thoughts on even just pursuing this. I'm not asking for a vote. This is just discussion. So I would just like to hear from you all, kind of what your districts are feeling, so we can either kind of move with this project. I don't think it has to be a very speedy project at all. But I just kind of like to keep the discussion moving further with this committee.
District 2 is very open to the idea. Of course, they have a lot of questions, you know, moving forward, but yeah, everybody was on board with it.
Same with my district too, District 3.
District 3 is a yes. I mean, just
Except
preliminary.
Except for Woodbury, they don't do it anymore
Okay,
in the recorder's office.
fair.
It's kind of separated it out
Okay,
when they combined offices years ago. So theirs is more affiliated with the treasurer.
gotcha.
I sent you all of my, responses that I think, can't remember how many people it was that responded to me, but maybe there's 16 of us in the district, so it was probably less than 10 that actually responded, and all but 2 were definitely interested.
Okay.
There were 2 that were not.
In District 5, I had, out of the ones that responded, I had 2 no's, 5 yes, and 2 already have systems in place.
Okay.
And then District 6, I heard back from 13 of the counties. 11 were interested, 2 were not.
Or
I had everybody yes, but they wanted to know more information, basically.
Okay.
2 people didn't respond, but I had no no's. So just more questions than anything.
Okay. Okay. So you might have to refresh my memory on some of this, Jamie.
Sure.
So Lynn County shared their development work with Iowa Land Records. That was part of the agreement. So Iowa Land Records had the payment. That was a pass-through,
Mhm.
correct?
Yes.
So we would need, so recorders would have like a link on like their personal page for their constituents to potentially access the service or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it would all just be
Right.
subject to the.
We would definitely need to define some of the requirements for it to be a multi-county. Right now it was built out for just Lynn County. So it's based on a single county, and we have the front end development of that. So like the UI of what that looked like. And we need to, and we already have the gateway for the payment developed. It's just a matter of connecting those 2 and then expanding, the pages to be for multiple counties. And of course, there would also be, changes in, the way that it's working. So it would support multiple counties, database updates, development updates overall. And so there would need to be some development work to stand that up, but ultimately we still have the domain, we still have, and we have part of the development completed already from that. But ultimately we would need to rebuild that as a brand new project, talk about requirements, what we do have, how we want to change it, what works for everybody who's interested in that. But that is something that we can certainly prioritize if we find that there's a lot of people interested.
Is Lynn County still using?
No, Lynn County does not use it anymore. So
Do they use their service provider?
Mhm.
So their service provider offers it, I assume, at no additional cost.
that would
Lynn
be
County's in my district. and Lynn County may be open to using something other than their service provider, and whether it's this or going back to what they had or continuing. But she wasn't a no. I mean, clear, there's a lot of questions, just so everyone knows. It may be going back to what they had developed before.
I do know some service providers offer it, obviously. Tyler does. Like in Wapello County, I think they use a beacon, or is that
Oh, yeah,
beacon?
yeah,
But
she did
they're-
mention that.
They do get charged for it, but their board pays for it because they wanted their county to be, all their departments use the same system. But I don't know what the fee is.
Yeah, I mean, my service provider has an option for it, and I don't know if there is any actual fee to the county because they collect a service fee, convenience fee for the end user who's utilizing it. It was something I was gonna look into at one point. I'd be more in favor myself personally of doing something that, would be through the Iowa Land Record system, much like I utilize the point of sale system. I think if those convenience fees can benefit us and our project, I'm more in favor of doing that than some other third party provider, but that's just my personal opinion. So I haven't gone down their route, but I'd be very interested in it at some point here. If we have the resources and the time to develop something.
Polk County IT developed our system. So just came through the Polk County IT.
So does your whole county use the same online system?
No, just me.
There is one comment in the chat that from Aaron Canfield in Boone County, that there is no additional cost from their service provider for using the system.
Okay, thank you. And the treasurers, they all use the same, right? For taxes?
On the tax and tags.
Yeah.
Tax and tags.
I feel like
Or do some have their own? Like, does your county?
Polk
you
County
know?
uses tax and tags, but I don't know if that's statewide.
I think the Treasurers Association has like a separate, like electronic
Maybe talk up so
association.
everyone can hear.
Sorry, I think the Treasurers Association has like a separate electronic association that uses, like, I think the majority of them uses, like, I want to say it's a statewide website, but majority, yes.
We also have a comment from Courtney, who I believe is a deputy in Lynn County, that they used their service provider last renewal system, but have not made a decision if they will be going back to the ILR system or staying with the provider's system. I do know that we did disable Lynn County so that there would not be random transactions coming through. And if the decision is made by Lynn County to go forward, we would have to walk through the process and re-enable the service.
Is there any further discussion or questions? I mean, again, like, we're just investigating this as an option. So we can have Jamie gather some more information for us and kind of come with like a proposal of sorts to kind of get the ball rolling, if that's what we would like to do. I know we've got a lot of projects that we're doing, that, in my opinion, probably should take precedence, but.
I would like to obviously see the notification system get
Mhm.
completely fleshed out before, we tackle something else like this, but there's no, I don't see any harm in starting to gather info and.
I would agree too.
Yeah, I agree.
So Jamie, there seems to be some consensus.
Great.
To-
Yeah, I can tell. I can.
Keep pursuing.
Yeah.
This option for us. So if you would do some fact finding and information gathering for us and have that at our next quarterly meeting,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Absolutely. And at the same time, I'm also identifying our 5-year plan or vision for the system overall. And I feel like this is something that I would want to add into that as well, and discussing it with the ILR team or the ESS team. Still say both because but I think that that's really important for everyone to be on the same page. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for
Thank you.
reaching out to your districts. I really appreciate that. Okay, so
Jamie, Nick is here.
Nick? Oh,
great.
good. Well, I was expecting him, so
So-
that's great.
pause for legislative updates from Nick Lanning. So,
And let
Nick?
me-
Yeah, can everybody hear me?
we
Yeah, go
can.
ahead.
All right. Good. It's still morning, right? Yeah. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Nick.
Yeah, it's been that kind of morning already. No, thanks for the time today. I'm going to just give a brief update. I know Jamie distributed our final report that has a comprehensive, what we call our end of session review. So it goes through the major items that happened this session, and then outlines our session successes for ILR, and then has your comprehensive bill tracker of the items we were watching that moved, that did not move, etc. The main things I'll hit on today are, this session was really defined by, I would say, 3 major issues: property tax reform, CO2 pipelines, and eminent domain, which again has been left unresolved. And will be a factor in primary elections here, which are coming up on June 2nd, as you all know. And then the state budget shortfall. So we ended up passing a state budget of about $9.64 billion. That leaves us with a shortfall of about $1.2 billion that will be made up by the Taxpayer Relief Fund. At this rate, the reserves that were planned with the income tax cuts phasing in could be done in about 3 years. And that's with no substantial increase in the budget. Almost all the new money this year was allocated to K-12 education and Medicaid. I note there was also a water quality package in the closing week of sessions. This came in response to a lot of public pressure and dialogue around water quality that invests in Central Iowa Water Works nitrate removal abilities, increased conservation practices, all still voluntary, and then a rural water infrastructure fund. So that was basically nothing happened on that issue until the press conference in the last week of the session, but that is another defining topic. On property tax reform, the bill at the end kind of clumped together the 3 proposals we'd been watching and engaging on throughout the whole session. It clumped together some of the governor's ideas, the House's ideas, and the Senate's ideas. And it was drafted and redrafted in the middle of the night. And the final package came forward with a 2% general property tax revenue limitation for city and county governments. There is some new growth allowable in there, but there's limitations if you use TIF and abatement. I would be looking for all of you to hear more from ISAC. I do not have all the answers on this comprehensive bill, and the full impacts are not yet known. We have heard concerns on economic development, housing, et cetera, because of the TIF change and abatement changes. And then there will be revenue limitations, which, as you all are working on budgets, could have impacts. So just wanted to flag those issues for you. There's more information and resources in our final report to go look for more info. And then I would be, if for the recorders on the call, asking ISAC for their analysis as well as we continue to feel what the impacts of this big comprehensive change will be. But it won't be implemented for this current year. It's not until next year's fiscal year. Start the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2027. As to successes specific to, I'm going to focus on the ILR angle here. I know we also represent ICRA, but I think we have a board call with them next week. But the ILR there were several bills this session on redaction and shielding and back the blue and adding to that program, etc. We continuously educated lawmakers on the difference between redaction and shielding. The last bill, House File 2255, they passed an amendment in committee. It was never fully integrated into the bill. The amendment is sitting there on the bill. That would have made it basically a full shielding program without any resources. So we worked and got support of stakeholders to submit an amendment that would do the Back the Blue program the right way, the shielding program the right way, with a funding source to ensure that it could be implemented. There was some pushback from the Senate on the idea of an additional fee revenue, as we are all familiar. And they drafted amendment without the increased funding. So we immediately said, no, this is not possible without the resources to implement a shielding program. So we educated on that again. That bill did not end up passing House File 2255, but I do think it's something that ILR and ICRA should be aware of and in conversations over the interim, because I'm sure stakeholders like ISSDA and others will continue to work on a possible shielding program. The other one was the Secretary of State office introduced a pre-filed bill relating to the address confidentiality program or Safe at Home. We immediately set a meeting, and Phil and Jordan went and met with me and the Secretary of State's office, and after educating them on the impacts and how the current redaction program works, they withdrew that legislation. There was also the convenience fee for recorders legislation that was introduced and had far-ranging impacts on real estate, etc. And we worked with the bar and a couple others to push Rep. Bloomingdale, who was running that bill, to do a floor amendment that largely fixed it. I think that bill could still use some fine tuning at the end of the day, but that passed the House unanimously, and that's something I think if ICRA and ILR wanted to collaborate on, we could into the future. But that did not go down to the governor. It didn't pass the Senate. It went over very late. And then the big one for the recorders, but this does have impacts on ILR as well, is the defeating the governor's proposal to make recorders' offices an appointed office rather than an elective office. And that was in governor's property tax bill. We had recorders up to speak at that on both hearings on the House and the Senate side, and worked that behind the scenes with data and a number of other things with recorders doing outreach to oppose that. So lots of, I would say, defensive wins. There's some opportunities for offense. House File 1031 was sat in the Senate committee. It did move out of the Senate Ways and Means Committee, but our understanding is there were stakeholders and staff who did not want to do the bill without and what Senator Kelker said publicly, a substantial amendment, and then that never unfolded. I think it became a negotiating tool for Senator Dawson with Representative Norman, who had championed that issue. So those are the main pieces. There was some AI legislation that we monitored that didn't go at the end of the day, but that will continue to be a topic of interest for Iowa land records, as well as the normal discussions of public notices and open meetings laws. I feel like we have 3 or 4 or 5 bills in that space every single session. And then there were more items for the recorder specifically, but I will do that on our ICRA conversation. But those are the main items for Iowa land records. I would say that the session ended with where you could see clear divides between the Senate and the House. And not having, with a Republican trifecta, there was definitely not everybody rowing in the same direction, and there were different goals, and that impacted what came out of the property tax bill, as well as a lot of things falling off at the end. By our numbers, around 10 to 11% of the bills that were introduced went to the governor this session. So I'm happy to answer any questions or provide further information that anybody has on the call, but that's my high-level update on top of the report that we shared around.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah. Nick, this is Julie Haggerty. I want to say you definitely earned your keep this session. Seems like almost every bill that came out had the word recorder in it somewhere. So
yeah, and like I said, I didn't even cover everything that ICIRA engaged on, so the list is longer for that call next week. So
literally, it was crazy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
Huge thank you for all you've done for us. Are there any questions for Nick while we still have him on the call? Is there any in the chat, Lisa?
There's one comment from Ann. Yesterday's ISAC 99 County tour discussion, they noted that we could expect an in-depth property tax bill webinar in July.
Oh, great. Hey, Anne or anybody who gets that invite, if you could share that with me and Bob, I think we would like to probably join that that hearing too, if possible. Thanks, Anne.
Are there any other questions in the chat? Lisa, any from the group here for Nick? Okay, we'll let you go, Nick.
Well, thanks all. And as you know, if you need anything, we're here to be your eyes and ears in the legislative space. I know it's going to turn into election season, and you're all the recorders are elected officials, but it's important to educate your other colleagues on the important work you all do and that ILR does, so that when they come to the Capitol next January, there's a better understanding of what your role is and what you do, to make sure that we're passing policy that is an improvement to processes, not a hindrance, I guess is what I'd close with. So thanks for all you do, and let us know if we can be helpful.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you. Okay. Is that lunch? Probably?
That is the lunch.
Okay.
They're just delivering. That Rafferty group is really good. Waiting.
Okay, yeah, tremendous. They've done really great work for us.
I mean, there's no way that we can be up there. See all that. No, there's just no way. And they throw things out at you. They threw things out at them. They said that in the smallest part. And the property tax reform bill, that was like on page 77, a little paragraph about recruiters being appointed and not elected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how they sneak that stuff in there. It's just
They did
very
that with the
frustrating.
fact, remember?
And
Like
that's the
standing bill.
We didn't even know.
Like who?
Yeah.
Right? And we get to manage
Stacy
it.
said
That's
I
great.
can't hear all of us and we are recording.
Okay, well,
We'll take a 15-minute break
Here's
first.
what I would suggest. Let's have Phil give his update on the notification system, okay? And then take a break because I know he wants to drive over here and see Denise before. she
Okay.
leaves.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
let's see if we can go out of order, if that's okay.
that's fine.
that's
And
fine.
we're in the other project update items, so we're almost to the last, the end. But what we can do is pull in that notification system, the second work authorization. Phil, are you ready to talk about that?
I'm ready when you are.
Okay, great. And again, that's page 63 and 64 of your packet.
Yeah, and it might be good just to go ahead and display that if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, sure.
So I guess what I would share is that first of all, I would just say thank you to Jamie and the committee for the opportunity to continue to work on the notification project. As Jamie mentioned, it has been something that's sort of been on the drawing board for a couple of years, and I know a lot of people thought, are we ever going to get this done? I have to give the committee and Jamie credit, and by this I mean Jamie Chair, to saying back in January, hey, let's just get this done. And fortunately, 2025 was a very good financial year for the project, and that really provided the resources to allow us to move forward. I won't recount all the steps in the RFQ process, but I can report that my opinion today would be that the committee made a very good selection in choosing COT as the service provider. They have really organized themselves to do this, to make a successful project. And it has really helped to be working with an organization that has a great deal of familiarity with dealing with land records. So we have completed phase one of the project, which was primarily a planning phase. We had a lot of detailed work to go through with them to help them understand sort of the inner workings of the Iowa land record system. We went through a pretty lengthy architecture discussion about how things should work and how the various data elements should be organized. And we had a lot of discussion about the user interface for the notification system itself. So most of that has been completed, and I think we have a very good direction right now for the developers, both at COT and within the ILR team. Um, the the thing that I think is is important to know that we're staying very close to the vision that was outlined in the RFQ. There have been a few changes. We ran into a couple of architecture issues that we had to pivot on, and but they ended up in being very good decisions. One of the biggest decisions was about how we're going to identify the documents that are going to be reviewed to determine whether a name matches or not. And there was some initial thought that, maybe it should be the recording date or maybe it should be some other date. But what we learned in the input gathering process, in the planning process itself, is that there is a data element that's already in the Iowa Land Records database that records the most recent index update time. And the reason that was important is we know that things happen in individual counties. There are also differences in workflows. And it became apparent that we could not use recording date because if we did, then if a county didn't get the document transferred on that particular date, and we were using that as our flowing date to identify records to search for notifications, there would be a very high likelihood that a lot of documents would be missed. So we made a change to make the focal point on the day of upload. And what that means is that in the course of a business day, counties will transfer records to Iowa Land Records, and that is the date of upload. That's the date of the index update. And using that date, we can be sure that we're getting all of the documents and perform the matching process against that particular day. And then the next day, we might get the days or the documents recorded in that day, but documents from a previous day or a previous week, or in some cases a previous month, also recently recorded documents. Anything that came in after that, they would be included in that batch. And the benefit of that is that it helps ensure that we're not going to skip a beat or have a inspection to determine whether there are any matching names to the notification profiles. So I would say that's one of the bigger things that was decided in the architecture design. And we've moved beyond that. We're now actually in the development phase on the back end software that will make the matching service, which is what we're calling it now, make the matching service work against the recently recorded documents. Another thing that I think is insignificant is that one of the goals was to try and leverage as much of the current ILR search application as possible to facilitate consistency in handling and a consistency in the user interface, and also to try to avoid duplicating actions that would just add overhead to the operation of the software. So there are two things I think that stand out for that. One is that if you're familiar with the search application, which you all should be, you know that if you're searching by name, you can search by a full last name, like Dunshee in my case, or you can search in combination with a first name. And you have the ability, using the starts with structure, with the wildcard at the end of a character string, to take into account various forms of a name without having to make several different profiles, one for each spelling of the name. It will be possible to kind of check all variations of a name by using that wildcard feature. I think that'll be a huge benefit to users and to everyone, really, because it will reduce the amount of missed notifications because of variations in spelling. And then another aspect of this is that a decision was made that the email addresses for the users are going to be the emails that are stored in our central authentication system, because every user in that system, whether you're an e-submitter, whether you're just a searcher, whether you're a public individual user, all of the emails are stored in that user management central authentication system. And as one of the developers from COD has referred to it as sort of the single source of truth about who's going to be participating in the notification system. And the answer to that is that every single user that is authorized in the ILR system to search will also have access to the notification service. It's going to be automatic. And so you may come to the Iowa Land Records team and the website and submit an application that says, hey, I want to use the notification system, but what we're really doing is signing up for the search as well as the notification system. That kind of seamless process is going to make it much easier to administer, much easier for your administrative and your customer support team to administer. Now, I want to make sure that we talk about just one change that maybe you might have some questions about, and that is that in some earlier discussions, there were conversations about wanting to keep a notification profile alive for a certain period of time, even though a user might have ceased using the system and allowed their account to become deactivated. In order to permit that, it would have been necessary for us to maintain a separate email database. And it just was deemed to be maybe more complicated than it was worth. So to resolve that, and this is covered in the memo that's before you, I believe on page 2, or the next page, is that we are proposing to do several things. First is that we'll review our deactivation policies. And right now, if you don't log into the current system today, if you don't do it within 120 days, you're going to be booted out of the system. If you do not update your password within 90 days, that could also result in not having access to the notification service. So the first thing I would point out is that we're proposing to extend that requirement from 120 days to a full year for individuals who do not handle payment issues. If you're handling a payment issue, the higher security standard really is important and we would retain that. But for the standard public user, for the user in search that doesn't have any access to any payment information, their activation period would be a full year if that is implemented. A second thing that we are proposing to do as a part of the project is to implement notification emails, that is, reminder emails to users to say, hey, you haven't logged in for X number of period of time, and your account will expire in so many days, and we'd like to remind you to log in at least once and keep your account active, and this will keep your notification profiles active as well. And the idea is to actually send 2 email reminders, one 30 days in advance of expiration, and then another 7 days in advance of the expiration. We think that that will significantly mitigate concerns about people having their notification profiles become inactive because they just forgot to log in. We're going to try and do everything we can to extend the period when user accounts remain active. But we also have to recognize that, people do change, they move, they sell their property, they pass away, unfortunately. And, it does not really make sense to perpetually keep a notification system or even a user account active forever. So it does seem reasonable from an administrative point of view to put some parameters on it, but also some safeguards to help prevent people from unintentionally, forgetting or delaying maintaining their account. And then the third thing I would highlight is that there will be a check in the system that will determine whether or not email messages to a particular user are successful or whether they failed. And the system is going to be set up so that if a notification email gets generated, then it's going to observe whether it bounced or not. And the system will retry 2 additional times automatically. But if there's a third failure, then it's going to error out. And we want to have a system of reporting to the ESS customer support team to say, hey, we tried to send an email to this user. The email bounced. It was not successful. You may want to follow up with them to see what the status of their account is. And this is a tool that we think will help also mitigate people who change their email addresses, or maybe something happened with their account, the email, that they need to update the email address. Whatever that may be, at least we'll know about it and then be able to initiate some communication with them by phone, if nothing else. So I want to maybe ask permission to share my screen for just a minute and just kind of walk everybody through what it will look like. So,
Do I have to do something?
you ready? Okay, here we go.
Okay.
I'm sending a request to share.
Oh.
That's his chat that he hasn't read, not us.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. Got it. And this will just take a minute. So what you should see on your screen is the actual search application. And what I'm showing is the name search. Can you see it okay?
Not yet.
He is, I can see it. Oh.
I'm
Oh,
screen
yeah,
sharing.
okay, yeah, he experienced, we just need to change
Your
our view
screen
in the room.
What?
Stop your screen sharing.
No, because that's just his.
Oh, she said, Mel said that they can see online.
Yeah, and we can see online, we just can't see in here. Why is it?
And if we can't get this to work, I can wrap it up, but I thought you'd be interested in seeing a short, feels like demo.
Hold on.
I am hanging on.
Anybody else have an idea? When you go to the screen shares with those three little dots that you click on?
Oh, that's a good
I
idea.
don't know where she's talking about.
The
The green one where it says you're sharing screen, those three dots, you click on that. That's something different.
the more
I don't.
down.
gonna say, Julie, would you be proud of me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was impressed when she had a thought. I don't even have a thought.
Oh, the three dots in the top right.
Oh, it's right there, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we just did.
We just
and
did
it's
that.
something else.
So Phil, while we're troubleshooting here, this is Jamie. You said that the search and notification system will be automatic. Is there gonna be a way for people to opt out of the notification system if they don't want to utilize that?
Well, they would opt out by not using it. I mean, the tool would be present, nobody's required to use it. It would just be ubiquitous, just like if you logged into the system to do a search, and you might say, well, I'm never going to use a location search, but I'm going to use a name search. You can choose which type of search you like. And um,
Thanks, Dan.
and so there's not really a flip switch off button. And that at the same time, we were not setting up to allow an ESS administrator, just flip it on and off. It kind of just goes together with the entire application, but it's your option to use it or to not use it. It would be.
So how does that work, Phil? If like an abstractor signs up for search, they would have the notification system too?
Yes.
I guess I'm not
Sure.
like,
But they wouldn't have to use it.
In any search user will have
They
apps.
don't have access, but they don't have to use it.
okay,
Right.
It's not automatic.
okay. So it's
Oh,
an add-on feature to
Yes.
this.
Like they have to.
Is that,
They have to
okay.
sign up.
Okay.
They still have to sign up.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding. Okay. Okay, Phil, we
Okay.
can see your screen now, so carry on.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna even if you can't see it, I'm gonna talk you through it. So in the search application, can you see it or not? Just tell me.
Yes, we can see your screen now, Phil.
Okay. So in the search application, if you were a user, you would come to this screen and you would say, oh, I need to perform a search, and you could choose name search. I'm choosing name search to display because just imagine that you would click on a button that said set up notification profile. It's based on name, correct? So the first thing you would do is probably see a screen like this that say, are you setting up a notification for a person's name or an organization name or a full name? And depending on what you wanted to do, you would be able to enter that information into a form. You also might want to specify which county you want to search in so that you're not getting a bunch of false positives from 99 counties. You may only own property or care about property in 3 or 4 or 5 counties, and so you would have the ability to select the counties that you're searching. In the case of the notification applications, we would not have a date range because we're predefining for you anything that happened recently. So we're not looking back in time. We're not looking back in history. We're saying you want to be notified of anything that happens day forward. And so the date range is basically going to be what documents were uploaded to the system the previous day. And that could be from yesterday. It could be from a week ago. It might be 30 days ago, but it's not going to be allowed to go back and search all of history. It's intended to be a notification of recently recorded documents. If you're searching by full name or organization name, you would see a similar screen to this, and you would be able to basically what you're doing is you're saving a profile. So if I go to a search that I've already created, and I wanted to create a saved search, I would give it a name. And that name would go along with the profile. So it might be a button very similar to this. And you would create the name profile. So very simple. You choose a name, you specify a name, and you select a button that says create a notification profile. Very similar, not the exact same workflow, but very similar to creating a saved search. So once you've created the saved searches, the intent is to have a display of notifications. So you could maybe see, I'm going to see all my notification profiles, and those notification profiles would likely appear on a page similar to this, where you say, okay, I want to see each profile. I want to make sure I've got the right names, I've got the right setup, and so on. And this is the way it would be displayed. And essentially, the navigation for the notification system to get the initial setup would appear in this lower blue area as a part of the application below Save Searches. And the notifications that you created would be accessible there, and you could review them anytime you want. There is an additional element to this, and that is if I were to, I'm going to use myself as a guinea pig again, and I'm going to just search for myself, and I'm going to use push the wrong key. P asterisk for a node, and I'm just going to say Polk County. And in this case, I'm not going to put a date range in. So this is an example of the search application. Now, the benefit of this is potentially that if you perform a search, you can, as a user, then use the actual search application to narrow down the documents that you're looking for. So if I say, I want to make sure I get all variations of the name I care about, and you can see I've got Phil and Philip, and there are a couple of Philips with two L's in here as well. And you would say, you know what, that wildcard really helped me capture all of the variations on that. And imagine that you perform the search and you say, yeah, this is the variation of spelling that works best for me. And then you can press the button while you're in the search application to create a new notification profile. So we think there's some power in pairing up the search application with the notification system so that a user can be more precise in setting up their profiles. So that's really all I wanted to demo for you about that, but I wanted to make sure that you kind of saw a little bit about the workflow. Pardon me. And then to end this, I'm going to stop sharing now. To kind of end this part of the conversation, what I can't show for you yet is what the email will look like. But we are going to be working with chat to develop an email template that will be populated with the results from a matching process on any given day. And so if you are a user, and let's say you set up 5 different name notification profiles, those profiles would all be run, and then because it's associated with the specific username, all search results, even if it was for different profiles, will show up in the same email. So I guess my summary report to you is the architecture discussion has gone very well. This is the first week of phase 2. And we've had a lot of good discussion. I know the developers are working very hard on it, and I would characterize where we are at as being on schedule. And one of the other things that we're working on this week and next is we need to build some administrative tools and reports for our customer support team so that they can help users. So one last thing, I think we talked about this in a previous conversation, is that if you go to the Iowa Land Records website or the redesigned version of it, as you're going to hear about soon, there is going to be an application to fill out, and where recorders really can help their individual users or their customers is that if you pull up the search application, and let's just say somebody um, wants to sign on to the system, um, you're going to take them to the search application on the what will become the updated ILO landing pages website, and you can help them fill out the form, and basically, if you sign up with this, as you already do with our search application, then you're also signing up for the notification service. And you get the bonus of being able to search documents in your county as well. So what we would envision is if the customers need help, obviously they may submit this application online, and Lisa and Corey and other members of the team will help them set up their accounts. But this is something that you as a recorder or your staff can do, is easily go to a web page and help them fill out this application and then submit it. So I'm excited. We've made a lot of progress. I would say we're on schedule, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for Phil? Looks like there's been a lot of work being done on it. It's great.
Great.
Hey, Phil, I noticed that you had pulled up the search application, and just from a perspective of how you enter that notification request, can that first name also have a wild card in the saved search for the notification?
Yeah, it's going to be the same thing. So if you go to that form and you say, I'm setting up a new notification profile, it would ask you to enter the name that you want to base the profile on. And the system will allow a user to use a wildcard in the name as long as they follow the convention of search with ends with an asterisk.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions for Phil? Anything in the chat, Lisa?
Only what you saw up there from Kathy about will there be a way we can help people who may not have access to computers or emails. So we're going to work through that. Jamie and I attended a district meeting on Monday and started the conversation about what kind of training you would want so that you can train your people. What we threw out was we would do one webinar and record it, and then do a second webinar and record it as well, to include the questions that were asked in the first one or after you viewed the first one. And then also perhaps a short webinar that we could post on YouTube that you could distribute and we could distribute to your constituents to help them if they're calling in. And maybe something to go on your counter so you can use that. But I think there could also be some news releases that you could use. And it would be nice if it was a consistent message that was distributed. It's a really great opportunity, I believe.
I did so that was my district meeting. Lisa attended, and Katie Carlton serves on the marketing committee, and I did ask her to reach out to Kristen and maybe have some conversations about how we can market that system through Iowa Land Records and the association. So, okay, any other questions for Phil? Okay, I think we're good, Phil. Thank you for your work on that.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's been my pleasure. Look forward to getting it done.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Can we take a 10-minute break and grab our lunch?
Yeah.
I want to keep plugging along. Take a break?
Take a break. We'll be back around 12:15.
12:15? Okay.
Okay.
So we'll be back at 12:15.
Oh, wow.
Welcome back to the ESS meeting. And there's my agenda. Okay. All right. So we are on the agenda item for other project update items. So first on the list, we've already covered the notification system and legislative update with Nick Lanning. So we're back to the top for e-submission distribution issues.
Lisa.
Hi.
Hi.
I first thank you to everyone for their patience through the issues that we experienced. It was an issue we believe with USA ePay and their timing. We've made some changes.
Excuse me, Lisa, can you stand over here? We have some extra noises within.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
And Samantha is also online for additional comment if needed.
Okay. So, starting over, thank you to everyone for their patience while we worked through the distribution issues where you wouldn't get all your money for one day. We appreciate your patience. We understand the inconvenience. We made changes on our end. So we start the process to generate the NACHA file, which is what we submit to the bank to get to you. We start that process earlier now. There have been no problems since we made that change. So for now, we're leaving it as it is, and we will continue to work with USA ePay and Professional Solutions because at some point we will need to identify a new vendor. Does anyone have questions? Okay. Any comments online that you can see?
Thank you, Lisa, for that
Thank you,
update.
Lisa.
Kristen, you are up for the website pages redesign, which is on pages 59 through 62 of your packet.
Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. I just wanted to share an update about refreshing our website, iowalandrecords.org, which will also affect the Recorder's Resource Hub. We have, we've been doing a lot of work for this website refresh, starting with the RFQ to find a developer to help support the update work on this. We've provided updates in previous packets and started that work in February. And since that time, we have really redefined our, whoops, let me go back down here this way. Excuse my screen share here.
You just put the
yeah, I understand. Okay, sorry guys, I'm a little distracted today. So what I wanted to share with you is this is a site map of right now what our new website is going to look like for sharing information on how to use search and e-submission and how to sign up for search, e-submission, and eventually the property notification system. We did some very in-depth research in looking at how people use our website when they visit. We also have formed a focus group made up of county recorders and a deputy recorder. If you look on the previous page, that would be page 60 and page 59. I did include a detailed memo that gives you a little bit more information about that focus group. And essentially the group was put together when we shared a survey to the county recorder's office at ISAC and then distributed in an email and also posted on the resource hub, which can be accessed by the county recorder's office. Asking specific questions about your resource hub and what you would like out of that and how that may change. And the last question on that survey asked if you would like to join a focus group to provide additional information or feedback on the hub or the website update. And we had about 10 people that expressed interest and I contacted them pretty much after we closed that survey and listed on page 60, I have all members of our focus group listed. To date, we have already had our focus group kickoff meeting, and we just met again yesterday for our first review session, and we jumped into a lot of details about the resource hub. We are far enough along in the development of this website refresh project that we're ready to make some big decisions on what the new hub is going to look like. I do think that when we launch the new website, the hub will have the opportunity for further refinement, but this is a great starting point for us to help you find what you need when you need it. Because the reality of everybody's office situation is we're juggling multiple tasks, and when you need to find a resource, you need to be able to find it quickly. And that goes for the hub and on our website. And consistently, what we have learned through our large surveys with users, visitors to the website, and county recorders is that it's currently difficult to find resources to our training. And we need to improve how we keep that training updated. There's also a lot of consistent questions on how a user can sign up to use our services. So these are our primary goals with this update. And I want to thank everyone who has taken the time to answer all the surveys, and a special thanks to our evaluation committee that helped us look at different development companies to help us build these new pages, and to our focus group who is helping us reorganize our content online and will help go through the testing phase once we get those pages up and running. We do have some initial pages that are currently up on staging, but until we get a chance to walk through all of those pages with the focus group, we will hold that until we're ready for launch. And currently, our launch date is set for the end of June. I plan to share these new pages at the summer conference. We're going to show you guys what that new website is going to look like. And at that point, we should have completed most of our testing. And then again, we'll have a chance to launch that website at the end of the month, which would be perfect timing because the end of the month is also when we share the annual report. So this is all going to be connected to kicking off a new year for us. And I'm just really excited about all the work that we have ahead of us, and just want to reiterate my appreciation for your patience, feedback, and support. We can't fulfill everything on our wish list, but it's going to be a huge difference to reorganize and simplify how we talk about our resources and who we are. Another exciting thing that we're bringing to the website is the return of search tips. That will be something that we can introduce after the launch because there are details for every county on that. But I think we'll need a little bit more time to get that organized before it's launched. But we are also looking at adding an interactive state map with counties that you can preview to be able to click on and get information on how to contact your county. That is another popular resource on our website, is people looking up information about your county. So we are very excited to share that with you at summer school. And if you have any questions or ideas, feel free to reach out to me, or you can contact someone on our focus group. And I will say our focus group has people from pretty much all corners of the state. So I think we're pretty well represented there. But of course, if you have any questions, please let us know. And with that, I would like to open up to you guys. Do you have any questions about the update to our website?
Any questions for Kristen? Any online? And just a comment. I love to see some new faces and on that, what you call it, your focus group. Yeah, that's great. Like to see people step up and volunteer. So thank you to that focus group. Really appreciate your time to that project.
And I want to add, I think the search tips coming back, I think is huge, especially with counties putting in historical, documents and that, be able to have the dates of how far they are back.
Yeah, I think we get that question pretty often. Just a lot of people are curious to how far back those records go in your county. And we're looking at we'll have to see how this goes through testing, but we're looking at, do we make a small note in the directory that says records date back to this time? And then you can click on it for an extended information that can help people improve their searches in your county. The only note to that is this information would be static. We don't currently have a way to connect that information from search to that directory, to those pages. So it would be on us to make sure that that's updated as you guys do additional backfiling, but it's at least a ballpark for people to know. Which again is why this will not immediately be available when it launches at the end of June, but we do expect that to happen sometime this year. So we're really excited about that.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Kristen.
And I did kind of skip over in my memo a little bit. What's being shared on the screen right now is some quick insights and what we've learned from the survey about the hub. 66 counties, 66 people in the county recorder's office participated in this larger survey. So we didn't quite have 100% participation, but we did get a lot of feedback. And essentially what we found out is it's reaffirming that we need to simplify navigation, make it easier to access on multiple devices, and just modernize how we share that information. So a lot of what we need to focus on for iowalandrecords.org information updates is also reflected in what we need to update in the hub as well. And then if you don't mind, there are no other questions, I can move on to the update on the annual report.
Sure, we can skip down to that while you're here.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm really excited about the timeline of all this, because it's messaging wise, it's kind of perfect timing for the annual report to come out by July 1st. So just wanted to let you guys know that that is coming. We plan to do what we have done the last couple of years. When we publish that annual report, it will be posted on our website. The new pages will continue to have a spot for procedures and other reports. We see that being linked on the other reports page, which should be found under meetings. And in addition to that, we will be reaching out to ISAC and coordinating so that they can send an email with our annual report to the County Board of Supervisors. So usually what happens is that email goes out to the County Board of Supervisors, and they may have questions and come to your office. The last several years, that distribution has gone out typically after the holiday, after Independence Day. So we're looking at sending that information that following week. We don't have a date in place yet, but as soon as we do, we'll let you know, and we'll be sure to confirm that date of the distribution at summer conference when we see you guys. But it will be available on our website, and we will send it to you guys as soon as it's published at the end of the month.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
All right. Next on our list is discussion on the API and the transition status. Looks like, are you sharing your screen, Jamie?
I think so.
Can they see? Okay.
Yeah, we can see the spreadsheet.
So,
Okay, good.
this is a spreadsheet that I asked Director Jamie to put together just to see where our providers are at as far as the e-submission API and our upload API. I know I send out a monthly kind of update to recorders, asking you to reach out to your service providers, kind of help facilitate getting these APIs done. I was able to come to Iowa Land Records, the office last month, and talked to our developers. And I think one of the continuous struggles is uploading large documents, large files. And it's just becoming very important that we get our service providers to these new APIs. So you can see on your screen where everybody is at. Jamie, do you have additional comments you would like to add to that?
I don't think so. I think, basically we've got mostly everybody has switched over to the eSub API. We really would like for Tyler DevNet to launch and officially switch over for that API. And then the other API, the county upload, we'd really like for Tyler Fiddler and Solutions to begin the process. So if they could at least begin it soon, that would be great. I know a lot of people were kind of holding off for the ADA compliance and changing their, updating their systems by the April 24th deadline. But at this point, it's May. So if we could be prioritized, that would be wonderful. And we're still looking at a June 30th date where we want to complete that. And so ideally, with all the work that we have going on, if we could be in testing with every service provider by the end of this month to early next month, I think we could make that date.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So
Jamie,
yeah, go ahead.
We were on the solutions meeting yesterday. Were you on there, Jamie?
I was on that call. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, we're like,
sorry, Director Jamie. I thought that Allison gave an update, which they'll have more of an update, but I kind of got the impression that they were working on the upload API and would be done by the deadline. So
Okay,
I
well,
can follow up if we need to. I know it was Allison giving the report and not, I don't remember who she said's working on it.
So this is the other Jamie, the chair. I did reach out to Allison a couple weeks ago on this, and she said they were working on it. I'm gonna say she said Mike. I'd have to go back and look at my email, but she was supposed to get back to me on that and hadn't yet.
I'll just follow up with them so we have a better update, because I thought she said they'd be done, but then we'll know for sure.
Thank you, Mel.
Thanks, Mel.
I think that I was on that call yesterday. I guess I did not catch that. But I think that I'm double checking with our development team too. And our development team usually receives some sort of communication from the other developer that they're working on it, or they might have questions about the API or different fields and things like that. So I'm wondering if they started and they just haven't reached out to us yet. But if they, every week I check in on the status, so I will double check next week and see if they've begun their process.
Jamie, there's a comment in the chat from Ann Dinsworth.
Yeah.
She said that they asked at Tyler's iCube meeting about this, and they said they're working on it.
Okay.
Indicated that it's back and forth, and she asked if there's any specific sticking points.
Okay. I will check on that, Ann. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Thank you for the update.
Yeah.
Denise just walked out. So we're done besides Denise, who's going to be retiring. But I have one more thing. It's not on the agenda. It's something I just worked on yesterday. I'm tossing around the idea of kind of putting a work session together for this committee, the ESS Coordinating Committee, to go through the policies and procedures. We had that subcommittee last year. We have several updates. Like one of the things is, and there's an address in the policies and procedures from our Johnston address that needs updated to our Westtown Parkway address. So I kind of want to start working on some of those things now that we've got our new director started. She's hit the ground running. Legislation is over. So I think we can kind of start working through some of those items in the policies and procedures. Julie is retiring also at the end of the year, who is our large county rep, and there's things that were brought up about moving it from the top 5 populated counties to the top 10 as something that we can discuss as well. So, I mean, there's a whole variety of things on our checklist. So I'm going to be working with Director Jamie to kind of list out some of the suggestions that we can go through in a work day together. Like that'll just be our main focus during that meeting, is to go through that. It's a daunting task, but we need to work on that. So anything else for the good of the order?
Nice office.
Thanks.
Yeah, it is nice. Very nice. Good choice. Yeah. Lots of work was on the hit. There's been a lot of work done. Thanks to all of you, for everybody's work the last few months.
Yeah, I appreciate you all looking on Marketplace for furniture and stuff and giving us money.
Yeah.
It's there's some new chairs out there.
Yeah. These tables are phenomenal. These are pretty much the same that like ISAT has in their boardroom, and yeah, it's good find.
We ordered the chairs from Amazon. They were what, 10 for $800, I think, and Corey and Samantha put them together. The 2 chairs up in front I bought on Marketplace for a total of $25.
They're really pretty.
Wow. Yeah,
Wow.
we're a big fan of Marketplace.
Yeah, that's great.
And if I would have put one of these together, one of you might be sitting there. We have so many leftover pieces. That would be mine.
Yeah,
Yeah, too much hardware.
So Denise, you're on the agenda. You're our last agenda item. So you're retiring.
I am.
When's your retirement date?
June 30th is my last day.
Wow.
Right around the corner. So,
Well, congratulations on your retirement.
thank you.
Thank you for serving on ESS. We appreciate you
It's been
doing
a
that.
pleasure. You guys are an amazing group of individuals, so.
Thank you.
So I don't know, do we need to discuss my replacement for District 2 or?
I think you should talk to Jamie.
So I think your district, do you have a district meeting coming up?
Next week.
Okay. So you'll need to bring a name to.
Well, Jane Schultz has
Jane Schultz. Okay.
stepped up.
Okay, so she's willing to
Yes.
do that. Okay, so the exec board meets next week.
Okay.
Is that right, Julie? I think it's next week, the exec board meets. So I think, Anne, are you still on the call?
Yeah, I think so.
What's that?
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's next
I think
week.
it is next.
So we can,
Friday.
we'll get that on the agenda
Okay.
for approval.
Okay.
I'll get something sent out to Anne, if she's not still on the call listening. See if we can get that on the.
Yeah, she will do well, I'm sure.
She will.
So,
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect, great. Well, thank you again for your many years of service. And thank you.
Well, these are beautiful.
And there's lots of comments in the chat for Denise.
Do you want me to-
Congratulations and a request for a photo.
Request for
Photo shoot.
Great.
Beautiful. Yeah. I'm up.
All right.
Well, thank you.
So that being said, our next meeting is August 13th, 2026. That's our next regular meeting. I would be looking for maybe something in July. I know summertime is not ideal for a lot of us, but we'll try and get a date where we can start a date for the work group to work through the policies and procedures. So be looking for that. I'm hoping to send that out next week. So. All right. Well, thank you guys. I will say this.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, yeah.
One last item that I had was if we could update the August ESS committee date to September 3rd.
Okay. So not August 13th, but you're on vacation.
Yes.
Yes.
And I had that planned before I was even here. So next year I'll do it in July.
I'm gonna have to cancel that week.
I know, no. So I was wondering if we could move it to September 3rd, which is the first Thursday in September. And it is right before Labor Day. Labor Day is that Monday after, so.
We didn't need that on the agenda to do that, do we?
I don't think we need to vote on it. We just need to,
Kind of a ministerial thing.
yeah.
Yeah, it is. I just wanted to make sure to bring it up here. Okay.
So potentially September 3rd for the next meeting versus August 13th.
Yes.
Okay, so August 3rd.
Melissa said that works for her.
Great.
Great.
Okay, so we'll just
Thanks.
get that changed, Jamie. That'd be great. Then you can enjoy your vacation.
Yeah, and then I'll feel like I'm not missing out on whatever's being
Right.
decided.
All right.
Great, thank you.
So I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you guys all for attending. Thanks for those that attended online. We appreciate your time today.